All right, so what's going on, man?
Dude, another day. I'm loving it. Things are getting better every day, too.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, thanks for coming by, dude.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so as we were kind of mentioning last time I saw you, dude, you were FB6 Dan. We were racing Carlos with the WRX
Yep.
until I think he might have crashed it. I don't know,
I don't even know.
or
what
someone
happened
crashed
to
him.
that. Oh, yeah, I think that's what happened, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
It was so long ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, I got totaled. I don't know if you remember that.
I heard something about that, and then I vaguely remember something about it not being his fault, so I was like, oh, man, poor Carlos.
So what's been going on with you, man? So I seen bits of your channel a little bit. So you work on rotary cars.
Mhm.
You have like a rotary channel. Like how did you go from like the Hondas and like Subaru and like diving headfirst into rotaries?
Well, I always wanted RX-7, funny enough. Like, I actually looked back into my photos, and back when I was about to get my Civic, I actually found a Craigslist post for an FC and I think some other Nissan or something. They were selling them together. And I was like, I made a Facebook post saying, like, someone buy this and sell it to me for like $1,000 more next year, please. And obviously that didn't happen, but it was funny that like almost a year after that is when I got my Turbo 2. And then fell in love with it, but then I got frustrated with it. I was too young. And then dived back into it later on when I had enough mental for it, I guess.
So you finally did end up snatching up an FC.
Later on, so I got a Turbo 2 like when I was 18.
Uh-huh.
Super dirt cheap. Like when I say this, people are gonna be pissed off hearing about this, and especially knowing that I offloaded it for way less too. But I got it for like less than 4,000.
Damn.
Like clean. I'll try and send you guys some pictures. Like it was beautiful. It had like maybe just a small dent on the back, but it was perfect. And I'm so mad that people got me like neurotic about the motor, thinking that it had shaft play. I should have just ran it until it died, you know?
Yeah.
I ended up just trying to replace it and not having the patience to fully like do the job because some of the lines didn't line up. I could have just jerry rigged it or whatever, but I ended up just offloading it at that point. I was like, I'm too tired with it. I just want to drive. I was one of those people at that time. I was just like, don't want to work on things, just drive.
So you ended up selling that car, and then some time went on, and then you just felt like, I miss it. I just got to jump back into it.
Oh yeah, I've been missing it since day one. Like I have already missed it before I even sold it.
But what do you in now? Do you have like a rotary car? Or
I got 3.
three rotary
Well,
cars.
technically 4 actually. So funny enough, after
Jeez.
this podcast, I'm gonna be going and picking up the title for an RX-8.
Damn,
I've-
dude. So that's
it.
number 4. or-
Number 4 in the possession.
Wow.
But
So what are
I've
you
had a
doing with
couple
all
others.
these cars?
Working on them, getting them fixed up. I started up a business as well, and I still have it going, but I ended up pivoting from doing the actual wrenching to now just kind of more boutique-y work about it because I'm just focusing on making money at this point because it's not money making.
I see. So like you fix them up and flip them type of thing.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Are there any that you're gonna like? You're like, I'm not getting rid of this
Oh,
one.
absolutely. I got the one in my driveway right now.
Which one's
It's
that?
it's a special one. Only 11 are made. Well, not made even. It's fabricated.
Oh.
It's a coupe.
Okay.
Yeah.
A coupe
So
FC?
they're normally either a hatch or a convertible.
Okay.
So someone took a convertible and then took off the whatever convertible part of it and then chopped the top off of the hatch and then put it on top of that vert. And then
Yeah.
better yet, the person who did this then took it to the DMV, had it inspected, and since they saw it as what it was a coupe, it was branded as a coupe.
That's
Oh.
Which is what
that's
all the
dope.
hatches are branded as, but
Mm.
now it's instead of it actually saying vert, it's now a
Coupe.
coupe.
Oh, that's cool. man.
Authentic.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious. There's a big stigma around like RX-7s or like the rotary engine in general, that they're very complex, they're very temperamental, they're not reliable. Is that true, or is that are they just misunderstood?
Misunderstood. It's the same thing as like boxer motors, and it's so funny because I've noticed that not almost, but more and more people that I meet in the rotary community also have a Subaru, and it's
Ah.
usually their daily.
Oh.
And then
interesting.
like they have no problems with either of their cars. They usually just have their Subaru as their drive around car, and then their RX-7 as their race car. And any issues that they do have is usually not even rotary related.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's funny, like maybe those guys just have a knack for like that different kind of engine or something, you know?
It's really just maintenance,
Yeah.
keeping up with it. Because every person that has came to me for work, like asked me to either fix something on their car or just do basic maintenance, they don't seem to understand that they're overthinking it. It's literally just doing the same thing you would do on a normal car, but actually doing it. Because if you do it on a normal car and you forget a little bit, it's fine. But on an RX-7 or any other rotary vehicle, you forget like 100 miles or even the most thing is everybody's neurotic when it comes to rotary vehicles. So it's like maybe usually earlier. Like, oh, it's 3,500 miles, I'm going to do it at 2,800. Whereas most people are like, that's 3,500, I might change it at 4,000, I forgot. You know, that's the usual mindset. And most cars, they can handle that. And also the added little thing of adding premix and stuff like that, which there is a small little nuance to that too. Everybody likes to add premix like constantly. I was told, add it 2 to 3 times, and then on the like third fill up, third, fourth fill up, don't add it. It's heavier, so it settles at the bottom of the tank.
Okay.
So when you go to fill up that third or fourth tank, you're then just going to mix up all the stuff that's built up at the bottom, and it will mix up and premix
Because
itself.
it's almost like a 2-stroke engine where you have to add the oil with the fuel at the same time. I see.
Yeah, because it needs that lubrication, because it doesn't have the same thing as like with the pistons where they have the rings and the seals bringing, or I don't know what they're called in the pistons, where they actually like bring the oil up. But we don't have anything like that. Just throw oil in the chamber.
Just a big Dorito spinning around.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I think that's also another thing too, is people put too much premix sometimes, and that leads to detonation, because octane is a big thing.
91.
91, but also if every time you add premix or any kind of oil, you're lowering the octane of that fluid.
Oh, I see.
every time, yeah.
Okay.
And then on top of that, if you're constantly adding and it's constantly building up, and then every time you go and fill up, it's jarring up all the stuff at the bottom, it's gonna eventually build up to like too high of a level, and then maybe your tune can't handle that. That's why you see a lot of these carburetor guys, they have really no issues because they have a lot of that variability, whereas these tunes are set in stone.
Gotcha.
Like, unless they're like actively messing around with it, which who's doing that?
No.
Yeah. I mean, I was when I first got into it. I thought it was really cool to have the laptop in my passenger seat.
Oh, yeah. Fast and Furious style.
Oh, yeah. I was like, don't watch out for the Honda kid with the laptop. Watch out with the RX-7 with the laptop.
Josh has been rocking the laptop in his car.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
fun, isn't it?
It's cool.
It kind of is, but it's also distracting.
It is, and that's why I stopped doing it, because I ended up crashing.
No way.
Not
Really?
crashing, but I ran off the road, tore up 2 of my, what were they? Koenigs.
Okay.
Yeah, my Koenig rewinds.
Ouch.
Tore them completely up. I got a video of it on my channel.
Yeah.
Them-
Damn.
I just look at it once and I'm like, okay, if it's gonna run this way, there's no way it's just gonna like switch, you know?
But it can, and I have seen it happen, but
Uh-huh.
at the same time, you know, what are you going to do? You know, that's why you get the gauges and everything set up in front of you, and that's what I've learned. Not
Yeah.
like flashy everything in your face, but
Well,
all
I
the
just-
information you need.
I just have like the necessary gauges that
Yeah.
are like, do I have enough oil pressure? Do I have my AFR is correct? And then I don't even have boost gauge. I want it just because that's what I've always wanted as a kid.
I mean, boost gauge is good, because I mean, you don't want to overboost, especially.
And then exhaust gas temp. So those are the 3 that I have, and I wonder. And those, I feel like if one of those fails, like I don't have oil pressure, I should probably just shut it off. If my exhaust gas temp is really high, then I should probably also shut it off. So
Depends.
depends.
I don't know if the exhaust temp is going too high because you're like driving around.
Uh-huh.
I would probably go down and like just see how it goes in idle if it starts to drop.
Fair
Because
enough.
if you have it still giving like lower heat,
Uh-huh.
it should then correct things at least.
Fair
like
enough.
cool things down in the cylinder.
Okay.
I don't know if it's exactly the same, because that's my mindset when it comes to like the rotary. Every time you're adding fuel or anything, you're cooling it down.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just let it sit and turn off the car, now it's just sitting there baking and expanding more.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
I think it's like if you see that it's starting to rise and you're not really getting on it, it's probably something's leaning out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
So that's kind of where I'm at. But Hondas are still a new thing to me. So
At least they're reliable.
true. We'll see how this one goes. This one's boosted, so I'm trying to make. I don't know. We'll see. Reliably, we're trying to push for 450 to 500.
You should do that easy. Is
Yeah.
it built in the bottom?
Nope.
You should still be able to do it. You can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, his car's getting pretty wild, man. He's got it's like a time attack race car style. It's
Really?
cool. You gotta see it sometime.
Yeah, I got to.
Yeah.
Is it like all like the wing and everything? Like the.
Yeah, I actually have to cut through. I have a carbon hatch, and I cut through that, so it's a chassis mounted, like 72-inch shape.
Oh my god.
It has a huge diffuser. It's fully caged.
Purpose built.
Yeah.
I love it.
So we'll see. I want to take it out, but right now I'm nervous about just driving on the street. So.
You get pulled over real quick.
Oh, for sure.
Take it out to California for a quick road trip.
Oh god. Yeah, I'd probably die before I make it over there.
No, you
You
see.
get a state ref even though you don't live there.
For real. I was worried about that because I shoot massive flames out of my RX-7.
Oh yeah, what
so-
was going on? You said you're shooting flames out of that thing?
Yeah, so that was my biggest goal is, I wanted to shoot flames out of my RX-7 because they naturally do, and they're like the most iconic thing to shoot flames without having to put a spark plug in the exhaust. So I started going after that, and I started shooting them, and I would like just go down, and that was with the carburetor. Then once I went Holley EFI, and I was actually able to put my hands on everything, that was when I started to have some real fun. Someone told me that I had done a downshift, and they saw it like actually cook a flame. Like when I mean a cook flame, like it was like psh, like
Damn.
just sitting
Just
there.
sitting there.
Yeah, like while I'm coming to a stop, and they took a video of it, and they showed me. I was like, no way, this is actually possible. I can actually. Okay, I need to think about this. So I started looking at my fuel table. I'm like, what do I need to do? So I just added a bunch of fuel at the bottom end, like where there's like no load or anything. So as soon as I let off the gas, as long as there's a spark to ignite it, it should just start dumping fuel and start a cook flame back there. And sure enough.
Does that kill rotaries doing stuff like that?
Yes and no. I mean, it's heat, but at the same time, if you're dumping fuel, you're actually cooling everything down.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And the flame is happening back at the exhaust, not like at the front.
You can still run E85 on a rotary, right?
Oh yeah, they're actually better with the 85
With the
from what I've been
85s?
told. I haven't done it myself, so I can't say from experience.
So are you just building these cars like stock or just to drive them, or are you building anything crazy?
It's like a Sunday driver kind of thing, but then it evolved into like I want to do weird shit with it.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, Miles. You guys, all right. I wanted to do weird stuff with it, so I was like, let's go ahead and take it drifting. I always wanted to do drifting, right? So I welded the diff in a
Ooh.
live axle first gen RX-7 and
Wow.
had a terrible time out in Apple Valley Speedway, but it was actually really fun. I mean,
you went all the way out there.
Oh yeah, I trailered it though. I wasn't gonna drive it with the.
Still, that's like a pretty crazy track to just try it out at.
I mean, it was. So I actually missed the was it the Vegas Drift event by like a day after I welded the thing. So I was like,
Ah.
now I need to just go take it out there.
How long ago was this?
This was back in August of last year, I think,
Oh, so
or
this is
July.
still pretty recent.
Oh yeah, yeah. I got some video of that as well. Although it's kind of terrible. It's just onboard back footage, but it shows me just doing like 5 laps, like back to back.
And you linking everything? No.
Absolutely not with a live axle.
Did you try and initiate the first turn at ABS?
Oh yeah, I mean I was.
You
Dude,
sent it?
Not like send it. I was gonna feel it out because I'm like
that first turn's pretty scary.
It is. You talk about the wide one because we went. I'm trying to remember if we went. No, yeah, backwards was the first time I went, which I didn't drive. I just filmed everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we went forward the second time. So yeah, you're talking about that big sweeping one, right?
Yeah, where you kind of have that straight, and like a lot of people are like you're initiating pretty fast.
Yeah,
And
I
you're, like,
own.
going into a wall.
Yeah, no, I didn't try that at all. I think I downshifted every time I got up there, and then I would initiate the turn right after that wide sweeping turn.
Okay.
Yeah, I was not gonna send that one.
A lot of those events, I feel like you just need to be going so fast for some of these turns, and you need a big horsepower car.
Yes and
some
no.
of the turns.
You actually need the right tire setup, from what everyone's telling me. Because I had somebody over there, or not had, there was somebody over there, Big Russ Gaming, I think it is, or Big Russ Racing. He drifts a Crown Victoria.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Damn.
like a police auction Crown Victoria. And I don't think he did anything aside from maybe welding the diff, if that. Yeah, I think they come with a limited slip
Yeah.
already. He just sends that thing, dude. He just goes in
Really?
there, hucks it every time. And he does videos where he'll be like drinking a Red Bull or something, and he's like,
No way.
or like eating a taco, or eating something. Like he does like all this different stuff now, because it started off as like a hot dog or something, or a sandwich.
So he
and then
eats
he
while
said-
he drifts?
Yeah, he'll not like while he's in the events, but he'll do like a thing like after the whole event and go out, film something, try and do like a social media grab kind of thing. It's pretty neat though.
The last time me and him saw a guy in a Crown Vic send it, we were blasting through Valley of Fire in the middle of the night, and this guy made an Umbrella Corporation tribute Crown Victoria.
Nice.
And dude, we had some pretty badass cars out there, like 86s, Miatas, Audis. He had his ST that was pretty decked out, and this guy was like hard to keep up with. We're like, dude, what is going on in this Crown Vic? Dude, he just like spins out, all 4 wheels off. Like we had to tow him off, bumper flew off.
Oh,
Like, those Crown Vic guys, man, they're interesting.
because they spend nothing on those cars. They know that
That's
they can get
true.
another one for
And they're
$200 or
things
less.
are tanks, dude.
They are.
I mean, if they can be cop cars for a decade, like, Jeez.
And those things have like
Send
2, 3, 400,000 miles by the time they get them.
So you're saying, back to what you're saying about the tires. So basically it boils down to the type. You need to have the right type of tire given the weight, the horsepower, that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, like I don't know what the whole mathematic thing about it is, but I noticed that when I did change my tires on my stuff, like I didn't change them out, but they were just telling me just lower the pressure or add some pressure. Like the guy next to me, Cameron Schaefer, he does Coco Spec Miata on Instagram. He does a Turbo Miata, big old or what do they call him? With the girl on the side, the anime girl.
I know what you're talking
Whatever it is.
I know what it is,
He's got
but-
one of those on it, and but he sends it, man. And he was telling me, he's just do the tire pressure, up it, lower it, whatever it is. Like depending, I forgot what exactly it was because I'm not big into drifting. I just wanted to try it, but they gave me so much good information at the time. I wish I like videoed it or something. But they were like, yeah, if you're feeling this, do this. If you're feeling like it's doing this, take some away. And sure enough, I did those exact things. It was actually working. Like, granted, I still wasn't able to link anything or do anything crazy, but if I can feel a difference in my terrible setup, I can only imagine what it can be like in a halfway decent setup.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I was just saying, I feel like the drift crowd are like some of the coolest, like easygoing, like most helpful people.
Oh, yeah.
Out of like all aspects of racing, motorsports, like the drift people are like the asphalt surfers. They're like pretty chill, like help everybody out. Michael Thomas, he's a big drift guy. He's a lot like that, like easygoing. He'll help anybody. So it's a good group to kind of meet and network with.
Absolutely, yeah. I need to meet all the people out here for Vegas Drift because I've never been to a Vegas
Never
Drift.
been?
Nope.
Oh man, dude!
I've
It's
only been out
so
to California.
fun. They also have like you might know, they have like a pit area, like skid pad, and sometimes they wet it, sometimes they don't. But I don't know. For me, I just think that's fun because
Oh, yeah.
what do you have to lose? Hit a cone.
I wanted to do that so bad. I missed it by a day, like I said, and then
Yeah.
shortly after, I actually ended up getting a reckless driving.
Oh,
yeah, because I
ouch.
couldn't keep it, to myself in that sense, and it was such a like mundane one thing. I say that in the like lightest sense because it's still reckless driving, absolutely. But I was coming into my neighborhood, like don't shit where you eat, terrible idea. Coming into my neighborhood after doing a couple donuts around the corner too, and then popped off a flame coming around, and then it's a nice little sweeping turn, and I just sent it, came close to the curb, and then just corrected. 2 cop cars right there at one of the houses, and I'm still like a decent way from my house, but it's still within my neighborhood, so I was like already knew I was screwed, and then they just immediately got in their cars, came right after me,
Damn.
put me in cuffs. That was the second time I was in cuffs, I think.
One of our drift homies, or more or less Josh, one of our homies just got a ticket like that. I think I don't know if he was drifting around the streets or something, but he just got one too.
If he needs a lawyer, my lawyer did a great job.
Really?
And it's funny, I got it from one of my customers too, from an FD I work for.
Another guy?
Yep.
I feel like it's not a matter of if, it's when I'll get one, so I will definitely hit you up when I get one.
Definitely.
For sure.
They did such a great job for the price they paid. I was just like, it's like what his name, Rob Ferretti said, or one of those guys about if you could pay a certain amount for a license, but it would basically equate to what you pay in tickets in that sense to be able to drive the way you do.
Right.
Because if you have a certain kind of head on your shoulders, you're not like going out and doing it like, without thinking about other people's safety. Granted, you are still putting other people's lives in danger in that sense, but who isn't when you're on the road in that sense?
Rob Frey, he's the guy that had all those videos like running from cops in like a 4GT on the highway and stuff.
The most famous Corvette with the student driver's magnet on the back or sticker. I don't know if he had. I put the same thing to copy him, and then now I see everybody having them.
Oh, really?
It's so funny, and I think the majority of them are actually like actual student drivers, but ever since I put mine on, I started seeing them everywhere. And mine was just for the joke of, it's an STI with a super.
I feel like if I was a cop and I saw someone who, you can kind of tell if someone knows what they're doing, and there's no one around, they're swinging around, I'd probably just, and it's probably why I'm not a cop, I'd probably just be like, hey man, that was really cool.
But you probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah, here's maybe a little slap on the wrist. But like the people who really put people in danger, like some of the Chargers that are swimming or cutting through, like
oh my god,
what
no
do they call it now?
hesitation,
Cutting up.
Oh yeah, no.
I'm an old geezer. I don't even know what they call it now. But Yeah, see, that's totally different.
Yeah,
That's
I hate that.
I
The
consider
old,
that
and
reckless.
even funny enough, it's not even real life. I hate seeing it in the Sego course, even though that's where I would prefer to see it. You know, if you're gonna get it out of your system, do it in like a video game like that, because
Oh, yeah.
it's the same thing really. You're getting that little adrenaline rush, especially just put on the VR headset, go cut
Right.
up in traffic. Do it that way. You know, you're not putting yourself or anybody else's life in danger, and
Yeah.
it's getting so realistic now, so you can just really get immersed.
For sure. But yeah, man, so back to the rotary stuff. So I had an RX-7. You probably will be upset. It wasn't rotary. It was engine swapped. But I always...
Was it always engine swapped?
It was, yeah.
Why would you buy one that was engine swapped?
Honestly, I would have preferred to have a rotary because I think those engines are so cool. They're like... It's just when they're running the way, like, good, it's like a watch, man. Those things just tick. But, you know, I was kind of looking into at the time, like, Bridgeport, Streetport. So I'm curious as, like, a rotary guy, if someone has, like, a stock rotary, what direction should they head, like, without running into a disaster? Like, maybe Streetport, Bridgeport, like, what would you say?
There's so many different goals, and it's so funny how many times I get that question, and yet I still don't have a direct answer to that, because it really depends on what you really want. And what I ask really at that point is like, are you looking for drivability or are you looking to track the car? And even then, that still like barely narrows it down, because then it also matters of like, do you have the money? Do you not have the money? Because if you don't have the money, there's always a way to do it cheap, but
Yeah.
you know, you gotta know what to expect at that point. Because some of these guys, they get into the rotary game and they don't have that much money, which is fine, but you gotta know where to cut the corners and, you know, have some fun here and there.
For sure. I mean, so if you were like, hey, I want maybe like a 450 wheel-ish horsepower car that I can hot rod around the streets a little bit, have some fun with. If money were no option and you had that car, like what would you choose?
Well, me personally, I'm always gonna go for an FC. Other people are always gonna go for an FD more than likely, but
How come an FC? I'm just curious.
that was my first RX-7 was a Turbo 2
okay.
FC RX-7. So that was it's the most comfortable. It's really the seats that I fell in love with the most, because I put
Okay.
those now in my first gen, and it's almost the same thing at that point. But still, just that whole feel of the cockpit and everything. And the specific thing that I really like is the turbo sound, the turbo whine, and it's what I originally thought was the shaft play that ended up making me redo what I did back then with my Turbo 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it's like that weird, it almost sounds like a supercharger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But it's normal?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just the sound of it's like the pitch of how I don't know how to explain it, like the housing, like in the inlet housing, the way it's designed or something. It creates like a weird whistle with how it's cast or something.
Oh, okay.
It's funny you mentioned the seats because I remember in the one that I had, like your knees hit the steer. Like Josh, like oh my gosh, we had to shoehorn him in there to try and drive it.
I'm
Like,
small, and I feel like an FD is cramped.
It is wild.
It's
dude.
crazy.
A
And yours
stock
is right-hand
steering
drive
wheel?
too, right?
Mine was left-handed.
Okay, I don't know if they're any different, but the customer that I had, he had a right-hand drive one, and it just felt like I'm crammed in there.
Dude, yeah, when with a stock steering wheel, dude, forget it.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way. I don't know if those guys have like super tiny legs or what. And when I say
even,
tiny,
no, even mine
like
too.
not necessarily the length, but like I don't know.
Like the actual, yeah. I get what you mean, 'cause I mean,
How do your legs like move anywhere?
yeah, no, it's a tight spot. I don't think they had the design of American people in that
Oh
in that
yeah,
aspect. They
Probably
definitely thought
not.
about small Japanese men in that sense.
yeah.
Dude, I drove his. I turned out onto the street on St. Rose, and I drove like I swear it was like a quarter of a mile maybe, and I was like, I can't turn. I'm gonna pull over here, and you're gonna drive.
Yeah, we pulled over in the hospital parking lot. We're
Oh,
like, we
man.
gotta switch over.
And I couldn't imagine having a V8 in that. Like, I feel like that'd be too touchy too.
It was wild, dude. This car that we found was, oh my gosh, it was nuts. So it had a molded like feed body kit. So it
Oh,
was
okay.
wide, and then it had 335 tires on the back. So I could totally see with any other like setup, a V8 is just ridiculous, makes no sense. But with those tires and the kit, the body kit, like it actually ended up faring pretty decently. Being able to have that much tire, but even with a 335, that thing
Sure
would
got
boogie
loose.
around,
I
you
bet.
know? So, yeah, I can imagine.
It's got all that weight in the front, like picking up the back
Yeah.
a little bit.
It was cool, but in hindsight, like, there were some people online who were like, well, why did you just buy a Corvette? And I was like, damn, that's kind of a good point.
Did you end up buying
Like-
a Corvette after?
No.
Because I have been wanting to buy a Corvette.
Oh,
funny
dude,
enough, 'cause
I got the Corvette shit everywhere. Like, I love
Right?
Corvettes. So
they're neat. I like them.
I've seen some C5s that people do up, and they kind of look like an FD when you put the eyes down a
The
little
sleepy
bit.
eyes.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why I want. That's the exact one I want. I want to get a C5. Just old dad style.
Get some New Balance.
Yep. I'll rock it.
Yeah, that'd be dope. Yeah, Josh has been sending me every now and then. He'll send me like a C5 for sale or something.
How much do they have right now?
I don't know. They're pretty reasonable, aren't they?
Like 20, 25 right now still? That's the last I checked.
I think it might be less because you can get a C6 for, I mean, probably less than that too.
No way.
But
I need to
I mean,
start
you're not
looking
looking at like Z06s, but still.
No, I don't care about that. I just want to. I just got into the V8 game with my Tahoe, and I already like that feeling of being able to
Just romp on.
Yeah, you got all
go.
the torque. Just go anywhere. And then on top of that, the AC is just so good in that thing. Like, I don't know what GM did with that, but they made an ice box.
Well, they know whoever driving the Tahoe, man, they gotta keep cool. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Keep the kids, the dog, keep the ice cream cool.
Yep. Cartel drugs in the back.
Yeah, man. I don't know. There's still so many cars out there I'd love to have. I'm sure you too. But it's like, you just gotta pick and choose. But it would be interesting seeing you go from these little like rotary souped up cars to jump into a V8. That'd be dope.
I mean, I already kind of did, but look, I'm actually tempted to start tinkering around with my Tahoe just to kind of have a nice second daily that's kind of done up. Right now, it just looks like a trailer trash car.
Really?
Yeah, it's on like 20-inch rims that just looks, and it's paint fading all over the place.
Have you gotten pulled over yet?
No, Shy got pulled over in it.
No way.
Yeah, but this was back when it wasn't registered. So I was running off of the previous person's registration because it was out in Arizona, and I guess they go for like 2 years.
Damn.
And we had the paper, and I had the tags and everything. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna run it. I guess they did end up pulling the registration reasonably, and one day Shy was driving it down to just pick up some food or something, and then she just got popped by a cop. And on top of that, she didn't have her license on her.
Oh, that
Yeah,
sucks.
thankfully she didn't get a ticket or anything, but the cop told her that she was like, I can't tell you to drive without a license, but I would suggest just driving home. Then again, she was like literally half a mile away from the Chick-fil-A to pick up the food, so I was like, you should just go pick it up. But she didn't feel comfortable, so I'm like, all right, I'll just go pick it up. I'll drive behind you.
Damn, that's wild.
It was
man.
funny though.
So, what's your YouTube channel? So we can give you. I mean, not that we have a massive audience or anything.
It's
but
something, man.
We'll give you a shout out.
It's Mazdan official.
Mazdan.
And Initial Dan.
And
It's the
Initial
gaming
Dan.
one.
Okay, cool. That's the gaming one.
Yeah.
Mazdan official. Awesome, man. Hell yeah, dude. But is there anything else you want to touch up on, man?
Yes and no. I mean, I liked working on the rotary vehicles, but I feel like it's been a challenge in terms of how people value the work that people put into it. And partly, part of the issue comes from some of the people who are willing to do it for cheap, but obviously they're not willing to put like full-scale effort into it, which is fine. I mean, if you're wanting to do a junkyard rebuild, and I don't mean that with any disrespect in that sense, by all means, but it then turns into an expectation for everybody who likes to do things like clearancing everything, making sure everything's right, and they expect those to be equally as cheap or just like a hair speck above, instead of being like, oh, it's a $600 rebuild for the junkyard rebuild, but then it should be like maybe $1,000, $2,000 for the for exponential reasoning or whatever. But it ends up being more of like a $6,000 to $10,000 rebuild because if you're actually replacing everything, making sure everything's clearance correctly. So,
Gotcha. So, like, there are some shops or some people working on these cars that are doing like maybe subpar
I wouldn't call it subpar because I don't want to knock what they do. I mean, there are some people out there that definitely do, but it's not those people that I'm necessarily talking about. It's more so the people that do good work, but it's on that lower scale where they'll build a motor with the trust of knowing that their customer is not going to come back to them and be like, oh, you built me a junk motor because they paid the right price. I don't ever feel comfortable building those kinds of motors because most of the people I gauge, at least, I feel like they would come back at me and say like, it blew up after 20, 30,000 miles, and it's like, well, for an engine that costs $600, that's pretty good in my opinion, right? Like reusing all the seals and everything, which again I wouldn't even trust doing myself. But with that being an expectation for being anywhere close to being the price of like a standard rebuild, it ends up being tough on the market in that sense. to say the
Honestly,
least.
I feel like that's just the car scene in general. Like, you get what you pay for, and unfortunately, I don't know how it is outside of Vegas, but I feel like there's a good amount of people who kind of cheap out on build and stuff, unfortunately. And I mean, like I said, you get what you pay for.
I always tell people at that point, do it yourself, because that's what motivated me to end up doing what I do now. Because before, I don't know if you guys remember, I didn't really work on cars. I wasn't anywhere like that at all. And I still don't consider myself like good at all in that sense, but I definitely consider myself competent in that sense. You know, if I'm able to rebuild my motor in the 12A and it's still running, you know, I can at least do some things here and there. And the confidence in that really just comes from tools.
Oh, for sure.
Like that's
tools.
yeah, having the right tools. Because every time I got stuck, and it's so funny, it took me so long, or longer than I'm like happy to say, to realize that I was like getting stuck every time, and then not realizing, oh, it's just because I don't have the right tool. It's not because I'm stupid and I don't know what I'm doing. It's just because I don't have the right thing. I'm trying to get at it with whatever I have, which, you know, you can try sometimes, but not having the strength as well doesn't help either.
Sometimes it makes a 30-minute job like a couple-hour job.
Or a couple days or a couple weeks, then it turns into waiting on the parts.
Yeah.
Or then you try and do it without getting the right parts, and then you break the thing, and then it turns into waiting a couple weeks for the
new part.
the replacement part. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not rocket science. I feel like, I mean, I've said that to Sam with building my car. I'm like, you just do it, and it'll figure itself out. If something breaks, you replace it, or you find someone who fixes it. Like, it's not the end of the world. And the amount of confidence I've gained working on my car is insane. I haven't even touched really any of the engine. We took the head off, and that was it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been wanting to do stuff like that with piston motors, just to kind of get my hands dirty with that. I already did the timing on my on this Legacy that I picked up, so I kind of got a little bit of something on that.
I mean, that in itself is a big deal, because you don't time it right, and there's your engine.
And it's a Subaru too, so they're already prone for knocking and all that stuff.
Right.
So I'm like, may as well try it. And hey, it turned out halfway decent.
Nice.
Do you think the flat fours are easier or harder to work on?
Oh, harder for sure.
Harder.
Yeah, there's a reason why I'm like so reluctant to actually really touch my cars, like my STI and the Legacy.
Yeah.
The only thing I've done is the timing on the Legacy, and then I did basically all the small mods on the STI, which is the headers, downpipe, basically the whole turbo back exhaust, and then a catch cam, and that was really it. I still have an oil pan that I've been needing to replace because my jack dented the pan. Thankfully, not enough for it to be an issue. That's why I haven't bothered. I'm like, hasn't been an issue yet, so.
Yeah, it's fine until it isn't.
Exactly.
Seems like it'd be tough, like because of how wide those engines are. Like even just doing spark plugs, there's like no room.
So funny enough, the STI, like at least the newer ones, the VA STIs, those ones are super easy to do the spark plugs.
Really?
And when I say super easy, it's easier than expected. Because when I went to do it on the Legacy, when I was doing the timing, I literally thought I couldn't do it. Like I told my friend, I said, I think I might not buy this car because I cannot even check the spark plugs. He said, you just need the right socket. Same thing of
Same
just
thing.
having the right tools. My neighbor had the right one. It was just like just a hair slimmer, fit right in, was able to get everything out, no problem. Same as if I was doing the STI. And now I think if I use that on the STI, it'd be even easier.
Well, that's how you have. I feel like the Subaru's kind of, if you look at like the generations, they've kind of gradually gotten bigger. So I can I can imagine it's easier on yours than some of the older ones for sure.
Absolutely.
Damn, man. Well, shoot, dude, this was dope. I'm glad that you came out and
Absolutely.
were able to.
I'm glad I came out. This was fun.
Yeah, heck yeah. We gotta do this more often, though, man. For
I'm
sure.
totally down. I love doing this other stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. So what else is going on, dude? What do you got going on today?
Well, I'm gonna go pick up that title, hopefully, depending, and then probably just gonna play some games just to kind of wind down. I've had a busy week.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the reason why I pivoted the business was because I actually switched from trying to make my money off of Rotary stuff and now just doing day trading.
Oh, really?
Yep. Finally.
Day trading?
Yep. So I did that like 2-3 years ago with very, very terrible success. Failure at that point, you know. But what I've lost back then, I've already gained so far now with completely different strategies and completely different mindset. Because I feel like the whole detaching emotionally is the biggest thing on that.
Interesting. What got you into that?
Honestly, I don't even know. I mean, I've always kind of had a Robinhood account in that sense. And then when I started talking, do you remember Martin?
Martin.
Thomas, MR2, AW11.
It sounds so familiar, but I can't see the
He was
face.
I don't know if you remember Derek either, the Subaru wagon, Derek Sanders.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Yeah, he was friends with him.
Okay.
Friends with him, but I was talking with him. This is back when I was just doing Robinhood stuff, just kind of making BS trades and whatnot, just buying stocks and just doing it like that. And then I told him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, download Schwab, this and that." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll look into it, this and that." And I'm finally looking into it after I thought about taking it seriously. Actually, I know what got me into it. I started seeing this video that popped up about poor man's covered calls. It was by this guy named Benjamin. And it was like a millennial, or not millennial, like a Zoomer kind of video where it's very like in your face, flashy, so it's kind of hard to pay attention to certain things in that sense. I ended up having to watch it like 5 times, completely not understand it at all. I was like, options. This is, I lose money, lots of leverage. Can't win unless you big brain, right? So I'm like, what's going on? So after the 5 times after that, I watched it 10 times total, watched it 5 times again, and each time after that, I started to understand. Okay, now I'm starting to understand how this works. And before I actually started to implement this with like a fair amount of capital that would have been risky to do this on, I started looking into it, talked to Chat GPT about it, and then figured out, okay, I might lose money on this. What are other things? And I saw something about like a wheel strategy without using the poor man's covered call, just doing a regular covered call. I was like, okay, this is actually suitable. So I started doing that. Still had like some downsides, but still was able to make a profit over like long term. Then recently I found something that I can only kind of share lightly, because when you find an edge, it's kind of like those things where if you think people on YouTube are talking about something that is a major edge or something, it's probably because they already lost it. Like they
Gotcha.
used it up, and now enough people have caught on to it that they may as well tell everybody and try and make on it. But when you find something, it's kind of like, am I doing something illegal? It's almost that kind of thing when you find the right edge in trading, at least, where like you do something and you're like, whoa, was that possibly legal? And then I did all the research into that again, tried to look up videos to see if anybody posted videos on it. Nothing. I mean, that's more than likely a viable strategy in that sense, because if I look in to see the strategy of how it works and how it's not illegal in that sense, but then nobody's talking about it.
Who knows?
Then just make your money.
Yeah, and it's small. It's like small money. It's like it's big money to me in the sense of like what I'm trying to make return wise. But if you were to try and do it on like a larger scale, yeah, it's probably not going to work. So that's kind of where I feel like maybe why no one's talking about it in that sense, but also why it's probably just like a small little penny grab kind of thing.
Gotcha.
But hey, it brings back positive, pretty much the whole week in that sense.
Get some more mod money.
Yep. I'm kind of building it up as like the business fund right now. So what I've thrown into it right now is going to grow, hopefully / expectedly, and then once that builds up to a certain amount, it should be able to generate enough income, just kind of on its own. We're being able to just sell calls on just what I have. Then whatever income that is, just kind of half that, take that, and put it back in, keep selling calls.
So right now it's just kind of a hobby, like fun thing, or are you trying to?
It's like both, because now I've kind of turned it into a little bit of a job, like working from home. I created a schedule, and it actually kind of got me into working out again. So I feel like I'm kind of doing this whole thing, just getting my life back together.
That's
It's like
great.
on my own schedule too.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
So you're still living here in town, right?
Oh yeah. Up north though.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Nice. So it was a bit of a drive.
Oh yeah, it was fun though. This was actually like one of the most comfortable drives that I've had
Really?
in a long time. I think it's probably because I haven't been driving as much, and so I
Yeah.
just had like a nice cruise down the 95, just chilling.
Nice.
Yeah, it's nice when you finally get to have a cruise like that, and there's not a bunch of traffic now in this town,
And on a Saturday, I was like thinking to myself, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. That's why I always go down to California on a Saturday, like morning / afternoon. It's like nice and empty. Or not 95. Sorry, I came on the 15. My bad.
No worries. I still don't know where the hell.
Well, no,
I'm
I
at.
haven't driven in like a while now. Like I've seriously been like working from home. Like this has been
Wow.
the least I've driven in like comparative to last year. It's like a night and day looking at like a graph chart. It's like up here, down here.
Oh.
Like I was driving all over the place last year, going like to events, going out to California. Like I went to California like every month last year.
Just for your business? Or?
Somewhat. I considered it for my business because it was all about networking. And I feel like it actually really benefited because I ended up meeting a lot of really cool people. I ended up meeting Eddie Renown. I don't know that's a familiar name to you guys, but he builds tons and tons of motors in the Rotary community.
Wow.
Learned so much from him. He dialed my motor that I'm going to be building for the coupe.
Wow.
So that whole year was just amazing. And then towards the end of the year, I stopped going out to California and ended up just going out to Oregon and Washington.
Okay.
Went out to Washington to meet up with some other Rotary buddies, pulled out some motors from some first gens. Just had a great time. It was fun.
That's awesome, man. That's what's so cool. It's like, aside from the cars and the tools and the parts, like a lot of times it boils down to like the people you meet, and you know, some things you can't look up. You know, there may be no video, but some guy knows it. You know,
It's all about the feel. And it was funny when you say about some guy knows it in that sense, like when people teach things in that sense, like in this community, from what I've noticed, a lot of, at least the people that know something, that are actually like, that really have a worth in their knowledge, they don't just tell people what the answer is.
Interesting.
Never. And they'll never even tell you the answer if you're working towards it. Like they won't talk to you if you're not working for yourself. Like if you're not trying to get the answer yourself, they're not going to bother. Yeah. And that's what I've been trying to work on myself in terms of like, I want to help people so bad, but then, you know, it's so hard and draining when you try and help people that don't, they just want the answer.
Gotcha.
And, you know, and I want to give the answer, but then that creates that kind of thing where you give a mouse a cookie or whatever it is, you know. You give them the answer, they just keep coming back for the answer every single time. So I keep trying to instill in them like what the dynamic of getting the answer, instead of just always giving it to them, just kind of giving them like, try and look here, think about this. Even then I kind of get on my case of like, I'm spending too much time, but I at least need to give them the idea of like where to go, because that's how people worked with me in that sense. Like if I'm working on something and I'm, you know, getting stuck on something, they're not going to tell me, oh yeah, just do this. They're going to say, look here, think about maybe this thing that you're maybe overlooking, because that's more than likely what they were overlooking at one time. They're still saving me time, they're giving me a shortcut, but they're not giving me that direct answer. And then I end up, you know, being able to get through that, or whoever I'm speaking to, you know, ends up doing that same thing, getting through it. It shows that, you know, you're willing to work and get that same answer. So I'm willing to then give you that same effort of, you know, helping you out in that sense. Same way for people helping me in that sense. If I'm gonna work towards it, they'll help me out in that sense. More than likely.
For sure.
Not expected.
Like you can't help someone that's not like putting in the effort, helping themselves. Like you can give some, like that saying, give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach him a fish, he'll eat every day.
Literally. It literally is that. And one of my friends I'm trying to do that with right now. I sold him my Miata last year, and funny enough, he ended up totaling it.
Oh.
He didn't. He got rear-ended and it got totaled. But he ended up getting another Miata shortly after. It was a 6 years newer, still an NA. It was a 1.8 with a salvage title, but it had a hard top. Somewhat better in the terms of how like it was mechanically, like from the outside perspective, because it had 97,000 miles. Mine had, I think, 210.
Dang.
So yeah, it was a lot. But I went through this car. You know, I feel like I would rather have a car that has 210,000 miles, that has a compression test, a leak down test, everything.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
all the numbers add up correctly. If it's
Right.
got 210,000 miles, but it's got all these numbers, it looks like a 60,000 mile motor to me.
Right.
And that's all that matters. As long as everything is replaced up to the intervals, like, you know, the outside parts, like pulleys, whatever, should be golden. You know, he got this 97,000 mile salvage car, and it's a 1.8, which should be stronger too. And he's having all these issues. And I'm like, dude, it looked great from the outside. You're right. Like $5,000 was a steal for this. I mean, for the hard top alone, for getting all the things, the bells and whistles. But it's got an amp in the back and a subwoofer. It's got the Sleepy Eye mod, and it's a salvage title. Still a decent deal, but I'm now thinking about what they do with wiring. What's going on under the hood aside from, you know, the Sleepy Eye stuff?
Yeah.
What's there that I can't see?
For sure.
You know, when I gave him this Miata, it had like a full bill of, you know, laden, whatever you want to call it. You know, it was clean. It would probably win a whole another 100,000 miles. I would have trusted it.
So if someone's looking to buy a rotary car, I mean, maybe any car
Anything.
for that matter,
Yeah.
what would you say? Like, hey, compression test, like certain things.
Everything. Everything that you feel like could go wrong, think about what you would do to test it. Like if you're worried about any of the seals inside, a compression test does the most for that point, but it still doesn't tell you the whole story. You know, it doesn't tell you how the coolant seals are. It doesn't tell you certain other things. And then unfortunately, like to test that sort of thing, you need to drain the coolant to test the seals and all of that. And even then, you don't know what they look like. It could be, you know, once they heat up, they'll finally bust or something like that. But still, compression test, making sure everything looks good, making sure there's no leaks, making sure everything adds up. Does it look like this car was at least somewhat taken care of? Yeah, rotaries are going to leak here and there. If they can explain certain leaks away in that sense, not like, oh, well, this is there just because of this. It depends. Like, is it a hard thing that you would probably not fix like for a while because it's not that big of an issue, or is it something that's like they don't seem like they're willing to put in a small amount of effort, so now what else do you have to worry about in that sense?
Gotcha. That's good advice, man. Because you're always kind of shooting in the dark when you're buying. These cars are so kind of old now.
Oh, 30. I gotta tell my friend you're 30 years old.
That is
Talk
wow.
about 30 years old at the
God.
very least if you're talking about a 90s car.
Yeah, I remember Need for
crazy.
Speed years ago, underground, driving those cars around thinking, oh, these things are kind of old. But now, 3 decades.
I didn't even think that back then. I was like, man, these are so cool. It's like only 10 years old and this and that. I was thinking like an 80s car was old in that sense.
Oh,
now I look back and I'm like, man, my first gen is 40 years old.
Holy
That's crazy to
crap.
think about.
It really is.
Jeez, that's 80s, right?
84.
I'm thinking, man, 2000. but
Right?
80s. Jesus.
It's crazy to think about.
Time goes quick, man. Gotta enjoy our cars while we have them, right?
Seriously, and keep fight for them
As
too.
long as we can keep pushing down the clutch.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
getting
speaking
out
of, man, I think that's part of what made the drive better too. Because like I said, I've been working out, so when I was pushing the clutch on, it felt like easier. I was like, all right, I'm actually able to drive better now.
Nice.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. It's good to see you're taking care of yourself.
Thank
and
you.
Got the business. That's
Yeah.
awesome, man.
Business is probably going to end up fading away for a while here soon, or maybe transitioning into something else. Because I do and don't like the name. I felt like it kind of rolled off the tongue originally, but then no one really calls it a D port anymore, or not anymore. But like it was only like kind of like a little hearsay kind of thing.
Okay.
Because like it was called D port rotary because the D in the what's it called? I think most people would call it for the exhaust port, but I figured it also kind of looked like a weird cursive D for the regular intake port.
Oh, it kind of looks like a D.
Yeah, it's kind of like kind of curves around and just kind of comes up.
So that's where you got the name from?
Yeah, and I was like
Oh,
D
that's
port,
cool.
Dan port.
Oh, okay.
I like it.
I think it sounds
I think it's cool.
I'm trying to transition into Seven Eyes Racing though, because now it goes off of more of my last name in that sense. Because my last name is Seven Eyes, so RX7.
Oh, nice.
okay.
Oh, that's cool.
I think both of them are cool, to be honest.
I appreciate
and,
it.
And rotaries are kind of niche in itself, and they make them special, so I don't see anything wrong with having kind of a unique name like that.
Oh yeah, appreciate it.
How much of an undertaking is it to have like a dual or like 3-rotor car, like Rob Dahm style stuff? Like, I mean, is that like massive amounts of money?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
it even realistic? Like, what does that look like?
So anything more than even a 2-rotor, it's a premium to drive a rotary in that sense. Like if you're driving a rotary vehicle, it's because you like rotaries. You're not going to be driving a rotary vehicle because they're fast or because they make power. Not saying that you can't make power, but it's not like if you're looking to do all that sort of stuff, but rotaries are not like your thing or you don't get tickled a certain way by it. Don't bother with it. You're only just going to create a headache for yourself, spend excess money for no reason. And I'm not saying that to push people away. It's just kind of like you end up destroying a car that you don't appreciate at that point. Like I wouldn't go and buy an S13 that I don't really put that much value into myself, but I know tons of people that really, I used to like them a lot more, but now I've kind of fallen off from it. But I'm not going to go out and treat it like shit. Granted, they kind of sell for a lot of money now, but if they were $2,000 still, like I still wouldn't go out and buy one and trash it around like that. Like in the same way someone would buy an RX-7, swap a V8 into it, slam it into a wall, and call it a day, or not even throw a V8 into it. Like just put run the rotary, get confused with it, get frustrated with it, slam it into the wall, be happy afterwards. Like that. If that's going to be your expected outcome, just don't buy the rotary. Just buy something V8 or buy something that you actually like.
I like that. That's good advice. So someone who's just like shopping around, like, maybe I want to try a rotary car. Not a good idea.
It depends.
Unless
Like
your
if
heart's into it.
Get invested into it because there's been so many people that not so many people, but like at least 2 of my customers, which I feel like is enough to feel like, why did you buy this car? They don't even know what the motor is. They don't
Really?
even know that it's a rotary engine.
Serious?
One of my last customers, it was an RX-8, which was the main reason why I'm getting out, because almost all my customers are RX-8s. Hate RX-8s, even though I'm getting one. they're just a pain to work on for other people because they're so finicky, and to be able to guarantee someone something for those is impossible. And then on top of that, for someone that doesn't understand that it's a rotary or what a rotary is in general, and then expecting piston car things or piston car livelihood in that sense, it was just it was hard to explain to them. Like, I need you to look up, what a rotary engine is. I would love to explain it. I'll explain it to you in the basic sense. Like, it's a triangle inside a housing. It's not pistons going up and down. Look up a video of how unique this is. It'll explain to you why you're spending $2,000 to $3,000 on work for this rather than $1,000 or less for what you may think. Because he was also getting confused about the spark plugs. Because one of the biggest things about rotaries is spark plugs. Because if you're driving it every day, expect to replace them every 1,000 to 3,000 miles at the very least, or at the very least.
Are they easy to replace?
Super easy. They're easy.
Oh, okay.
Like, they're the easiest thing, so long as you don't have an FD. FDs are a little bit pain. RX-8s are also a little bit harder because you got to take off the wheel to get at it, but it's still easy enough. Like, just do it. Like, it's way easier than a Subaru, I'll put it that way. And a Subaru, you still have to change them, I would consider, every 10,000. I would trust it that way. But yeah, he was like, I have to change them out every 1,000, 3,000. He would point at his Hyundai, every 7,000 to 10,000. I mean, it's not a Hyundai, guy. Like, it's. I wish I could say, like, or I don't even think he said 7,000. He said 20, 30, 50. He doesn't even have to think about his spark plugs.
Right.
Like, he only ever has to change his spark plugs like once a car or something. I forgot what he said exactly. It was funny to me though. But I was like, dude, this is a rotary vehicle, and on top of that, even if you had just a regular sports car, expect to change the spark plugs a little bit more often. But then adding the rotary aspect into it takes it all, and especially with the extent of premix, you're gonna foul them out.
Oh, I see. Interesting.
Yeah, because that oil builds up.
It's wild to me that someone like to that extent would go out of their way to buy a much older, like kind of sporty, interesting car, and literally not even know what a rotary is. Like,
He bought it for his son.
Oh, so you just thought that was a cool, cheap car for my son. They have no idea.
It was a little bit more explained in that sense, yeah, but still in the sense of didn't know what he bought.
I run into that at work. I work at like a Land Rover dealership, and dude, I get people like, oh my gosh, Josh has a buddy. Do you want to tell him about this guy?
Oh God, I don't even. Well, it's actually my wife's her nail guy, and he doesn't have a ton of money, and he needed a car. For some reason, he landed on was it like a 2012 Range Rover or something. I'm like, why would you buy? You don't have a lot of money. Why would you land on that?
That's what I wanted.
So anyway, he bought this car. He ended up having to bring it to the shop like almost immediately. And
Really? A Land Rover in the shop?
And he had to do like all the timing components and whatnot. And so he's like, I think this should be good. I guess now he's having issues with it, like smogging, and he has to check engine lights and stuff. And he learned that I was a car guy, and he's like, you want to look at it for me? I'm like, to be honest, not really.
That's always the answer.
But he's like, do you know anyone who would? And I asked, I guess let me back up. I asked him what he thought the problems were, because he said he scanned the codes and all these things. And he's like, it's giving this code, and I looked it up, and it could either be something simple where it's like a camshaft position sensor, or you replace the whole cam because like an actuator in it is not good. And I'm like, you already had all the timing, you're already in there. Why didn't you just do it then? So now you're gonna have to pull everything apart, retime that. You're gonna have to redo everything you did. He's like, he needs a new control arm. I guess the cats are going out. So I asked another buddy, and he's like, honestly, if I was him, I'd just crash it into a wall. And this guy is so adamant about saving it because the amount of money he's already put into it. And I'm
Sunken
like,
cost.
You're gonna keep going at it, and you're probably gonna still have these issues going forward. I asked Sam. Sam's like, the same thing. If I was him, just crash the damn car.
You know what's funny is that this is almost like a perfect example in relativity to rotary cars, because like people have these attachments to cars, like a Land Rover, a Range Rover. They see it in a movie or something. Maybe they see Chris Moltisanti in Sopranos driving his. I mean, I want one too, but maybe they really want one at that point. But then they don't realize how much they cost in that sense. Like it's just like all this money every time you're having to do maintenance. You don't have Chris Maltasanti money. You don't have Mafia money to drop on it.
I feel like if you don't have the money, like maybe do a little bit of research and make sure you're buying something that's actually going to last you for the amount of money you
People
have.
hate the answer to that question because it always lands to, right?
What's that?
Buy a Camry.
I mean, honestly, a Civic?
Yeah.
Buy a Civic or a Camry. And it's always the same answer when I ask my buddy Tarl. He's always like, buy a Camry. Just buy a Camry.
It just makes
Buy a
sense.
Camry.
Stop
It
buying
does.
these Subarus. Stop buying these RX-8s and RX-7s. Just buy a Camry. I'm like, but I want to at least have a fun daily. It's like,
Well, you don't have the money for a fun daily. Like, you don't do it.
Well, for me, it's a different story. I'm like, I can afford it. I'm just talking to him about other issues and
Well, I mean,
stuff.
not you.
Yeah, but when I'm talking to other people in that sense too, it's just like, just buy a Camry.
Yeah,
It's true.
I just translate that same thing back over.
it makes sense. But
Yeah, so Josh told me like it had all these timing problems, something
Ugh.
else was going on, and then he said something about it needs catalytic converters. And when he said that, dude, I was like,
you're done.
enough is enough.
And that's a V8, right?
Was it?
I think
I don't
so.
know.
I don't know.
A V configuration, I'm sure. So it's probably got two cats, right, or maybe even 4.
Probably.
Maybe.
Probably
But man,
dummy
OEM,
expensive.
dude, OEM don't even. It is like twice as much as what my Fiesta's probably worth.
Ugh.
It is wild.
I couldn't imagine.
But the biggest like misunderstanding is people don't understand that like as cars depreciate, like that 2012 Land Rover might have been almost 100,000 brand new maybe, and people don't understand that parts and labor go up or stay about the same like everything else. Stuff in the grocery store, services, but the values of the car sink. So somehow people think if now this car that was 100 grand is now 12. So obviously maybe the parts should be about that for a $12,000 car. Doesn't work like
They
that.
think it's relative in cost of the
They
car
get
itself.
themselves in trouble.
Yep. I feel like that was a big thing with Maseratis, and that's what really started it off. And then now it started turning into the older Mercedes and older this, because Maseratis, they dropped in value like so quick. So that was like the immediate thing that everyone would get. But now that all these other cars, and especially even these old cars, but now no one thinks about like a 2000 Mercedes as an old car.
Yeah.
But they do. Or not they do, but then they go and buy it for like $2,000-$3,000, but then have to spend the same amount of money that they spent on the car just on maintenance alone.
And then they don't want to do it.
Nope.
Yeah. Or they can't afford to.
Nope. Yeah, I wonder how much the maintenance would have been on this one Mercedes that I sold. It was a 2003 E550, I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it on trade for some wheels. I traded some Enki Ferraras, or no, sorry, Momo Ferraras.
Okay.
And I got the car and something else as well. I think some seats or something.
Oh, that's cool.
It just didn't run, so I just replaced the battery, fuel pump, started
And it
right
ran.
up. Yep.
You
I
good?
don't know what the heck happened. Just like
Should I turn mine off?
maybe.
Oh, it was yours?
Yeah.
Wait, should
I thought it was this
should
one that I heard beep.
I don't know if the battery. I thought I put a brand new battery in it.
I don't think when you're recording that full time, they can die.
Serious?
Yeah.
Damn.
Usually for stuff like that, I try and find the adapters that you can plug into the wall, so that way you can like constantly have them
Mine
charged.
was at like 80%. Now it's at 4.
Holy crap! Do you
Damn.
do you think it still saved it?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It just
Should
cut
I,
off.
Should I turn it off now?
I mean, you
I mean,
can.
it's
I feel like
dead
we're just.
anyways.
Yeah. We can keep talking, but.
Yeah.
Damn,
We're
I
just
didn't know
chilling,
it died
hanging
that
out.
Quick. I have no idea. I just got this camera.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I bought a whole bunch of batteries and stuff.
What I suggest.